Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack the ultimate financial showdown, clearing your debt versus playing the market. You know that intense mental tug-of-war you experience every time you actually have a little extra money at the end of the month? Do you aggressively wipe out every single penny you owe just to get that heavy weight off your shoulders? Or do you leverage that cash to build wealth in the stock market? Because, let's be honest, you've got a deep fear of missing out on those compounding returns. It's an exhausting crossroads. Well, today, we are settling this debate once and for all. We're going to look closely at both the hard data and the hidden psychology behind these two approaches. We call this the behavioral arbitrage.
Right out of the gate, we've got a classic tale of two completely different trajectories. First, we have Jake. He is intensely focused on total debt elimination, using the famous Dave Ramsey snowball method. Now, Jake fully knows this method isn't the absolute most mathematically perfect way to pay off debt, but he highly values the quick psychological wins of knocking out small balances just to stay motivated. He is literally eating rice and beans, slashing his lifestyle to the bone, saying no to vacations, and driving an absolute beater of a car just to throw everything he has at those balances. And going head-to-head with him, we have Marcus. Marcus is the classic finance bro, entirely focused on optimizing for market returns. He's taking $600 every single month and dropping it straight into the S&P 500, all while paying the absolute bare minimums to keep his lenders happy. It's intense, gritty discipline going up against pure mathematical optimization.
Section 1. The conventional math trap. Let's examine the exact logic Marcus uses to justify his strategy.
So the math behind Marcus's strategy actually seems completely undeniable. Marcus looks at historical data, and he knows the average long-term return of the stock market sits right around 10%. On the flip side, his major liability, his student loan, is sitting there costing him just 6% in interest. In Marcus's mind, this is practically free money. It's a basic arbitrage opportunity. He honestly believes that by putting his money into the market instead of his debt, he's effortlessly outsmarting the system. After all, earning a 10% return clearly beats paying down a 6% loan, right? He figures he'll just take that 4% difference, pocket the profit, and easily come out ahead over the long haul.
You hear this all the time. Mathematically, investing at a 10% return beats paying off a 6% student loan. It's the ultimate defense for anyone who wants to invest rather than pay off the bank. It sounds brilliant, and frankly, it sounds incredibly sophisticated when you explain it to your friends at a dinner party. But relying strictly on this isolated piece of mathematics creates a highly dangerous blind spot. This logic hyper-focuses on just one single asset class and one single liability, completely ignoring your holistic financial picture, the reality of market volatility, and most importantly, human behavior.
Which brings us to Section 2, the real math revealed. Let's look at the hidden variables Marcus totally left off his pristine spreadsheet.
Here's the massive plot twist, a staggering 22% credit card APR. This is the consumer debt that Marcus is quietly carrying around in the background while he's busy optimizing his 6% student loans against the stock market. And this one hidden variable, it completely flips the script. It guarantees that his so-called optimal math is actually locking him into a massive financial loss. You simply cannot sustainably outinvest a 22% interest rate. There's no way. It acts as a financial black hole, compounding against him every single day, dragging down his entire net worth and completely wiping out any of those cute 4% arbitrage gains he thinks he's making in the S&P 500. He's literally bleeding real cash just to celebrate paper gains.
Meanwhile, let's jump back over to Jake's approach. Yes, Jake suffers through 34 intense months of paying down his debt. And let's be totally clear, those 34 months are grueling. It means turning down dinner invites, skipping vacations, and feeling the constant pinch of austerity. The rice and beans get incredibly old very fast. But look at the monumental shift that happens at the very end of that period. He unlocks a massive $1,400 a month in newly freed up cash flow. By entirely eliminating his monthly payments to his lenders, Jake has effectively given himself a permanent, life-changing monthly raise. And it's a raise that he controls completely, not the bank.
Now check out the long-term payoff of this sacrifice. At month 0, they both kick off their plans. Fast forward to month 34, Jake finishes his grueling debt payoff and suddenly has that massive $1,400 a month at his disposal to invest. Because Jake is now injecting a much larger principal into the market every single month compared to Marcus's $600, compound interest begins working aggressively in Jake's favor. By paying thousands less in interest over those first few years, and then taking that enormous freed-up cash flow to turbocharge his investments, Jake actually overtakes Marcus in total net worth by year 10. Marcus had a nearly 3-year head start in the stock market, but Jake's sheer cash flow momentum completely eclipses him.
Section 3. The psychology of debt. Because at the end of the day, personal finance isn't just a math problem, it is a deeply behavioral one.
Holding on to debt creates what psychologists call a cognitive burden. Think of it kind of like background software running on your phone, silently eating away at your battery and slowing down your processing speed every single day. Even if you aren't consciously thinking about your credit card bill or your student loan, your brain still registers these open debt threats as underlying stress. It manifests in everyday life too. It's that subtle pit in your stomach when you buy groceries, or maybe that sudden, irrational friction with a spouse over a seemingly minor purchase. It sits right there in the back of your mind, draining your energy, clouding your long-term financial decision-making, and keeping your nervous system in a constant state of subtle alert.
And this right here is exactly why the two strategies yield such wildly different results in the real world. Marcus's spreadsheet strategy only works if he acts like a perfectly rational robot. Just imagine a scenario where the stock market drops by 30%. Human panic naturally sets in. Marcus is now watching his portfolio plummet, while his 22% credit card interest continues to ruthlessly compound against him. The pressure is immense, and he's highly likely to succumb to human emotion and panic sell at the absolute bottom. Jake's strategy, however, works because it actually deals with human reality. It eliminates threats immediately, clears out that debilitating cognitive burden, and creates unstoppable psychological momentum that keeps him motivated and resilient, no matter what the market does. The impact of clearing that mental burden is actually astounding. Eliminating your debt doesn't just improve your balance sheet, it drops clinical anxiety by 25%. I really want to emphasize this because it's a massive takeaway. Your financial health is directly tied to your mental and physical health. It proves that financial peace isn't just some abstract feel-good concept, it has a real measurable impact on reducing your cortisol levels. By getting rid of the debt, Jake didn't just win the financial game, he quite literally bought back his peace of mind, resulting in a 25% reduction in daily anxiety.
Section 4. The Behavioral Arbitrage Playbook. So how do we take all of these insights and apply them directly to your own wallet? While Jake found amazing success using the snowball method for those quick behavioral wins, the ultimate playbook optimizes both the math and the psychology to get you to wealth even faster. Step 1. Use the avalanche method. This means aggressively targeting your highest interest debt first, going right after those toxic 22% credit card rates immediately to stop the worst of the financial bleeding. Step 2. Clear that debt as fast as humanly possible. Embrace the temporary sacrifice to completely remove that cognitive burden and build your momentum. Step 3. Once you are clear, take that massive freed-up cash flow and seamlessly redirect it straight into aggressive market investments. You're combining the unshakable psychological victory of being debt-free with serious, unencumbered investing power.
As we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this final, crucial thought to consider about your own money. Are you just trying to optimize a spreadsheet, or are you actually optimizing your behavior to win the long game? Because as the data and human psychology clearly show, if your financial plan requires you to act like a perfectly rational robot through all of life's unpredictable ups and downs, well, it's eventually going to fail. Build a strategy that clears your mind, creates unstoppable momentum, and sets you up for absolute financial peace.